Hello, friends. Bienvenidos. My name is Jen, aka Jen Kalu on social media, your local witchy friend and intuitive guide through the occult. As always, my lovely husband and co host is David, aka Premier Pulls on social media.
In today's episode, Jen explains mal de ojo, or evil eye in English.
Welcome to the show. Grab a chair, make yourself at home. Jen's got stories to share, you'll never feel alone.
So, we didn't have any community discussion post responses for the butterfly effect, but that's all right.
But what a good episode, right? It really got me thinking, and just for the next couple of days, I was very just removed from the ordinary, like, day-to-day stuff, and I just kind of contemplated some things beyond, just what we talk about. It's like having a conversation about like space, time, and basically reality was very interesting. So again, Joshua, thank you so much for posting those questions. It really made me think. And we didn't have any discussion posts, but I did talk about it with a few people, and they really seemed to enjoy it and say that, like, wow, that was a good episode.
Yeah, it was interesting to think about our lives or just like other events through that lens.
Yeah, so good episode. I would do a part 2 on that, but if there's another topic where we can kind of get into like, more of the meta or more removed from reality and bigger existential things, I would love to tackle that one again as well.
Yeah, definitely. So today's episode with the evil eye is actually a request from Melody. So thank you for the idea.
Nice, thank you. Remind me again who Melody is? I feel like I should know this.
So they've hired me for like different house parties.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Big shout out. Awesome.
So yeah, Melody and family have been awesome.
Melanie and Co.
Yes.
Melody with a D, right?
Uh-huh.
Melody and Co.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I know I keep missing out on these parties. I gotta maybe join you next time.
Yes, but a lot of people think that the evil eye is evil.
Well, I mean, as the name would suggest.
Yeah, I know, but it's kind of a funny name. Mal de ojo, I guess if you literally translated bad of eye. So that also like isn't intuitive, but it's basically like an amulet that protects yourself from bad energy that people can transmute through their eyes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm glad you clarified that because I was under the impression that the evil eye was like something bad, which I'm sure there are bad connotations. So I was always curious, like, wait, why do we have them all over the place for protection?
Yeah, so basically the belief is that people can send negative energy like through their eyes. Like, someone could say one thing but their eyes say another. They're really like a window to the soul, and with enough like bad intent and energy, like even if they're smiling, like the bad vibes are coming from their eyes directly at you because they're looking at you. But if you have an evil eye, which is not evil, it stares back at them and protects you from their evil eyes.
Okay. It almost sounds like just people being passive aggressive with one another.
Yeah. It could be. A lot of cultures handle it very differently, which we'll talk about in a minute. But
it sounds a little reminiscent of like our curses episode, which was episode 2, a while back ago now. And then we did also just watch a movie last night, Tarot. I'm not promoting it, but it was basically about this spiritualist who goes around doing tarot readings, and then all the tarot readings come true, but in a negative way, kind of like the monkey's paw, and it starts killing everybody. And the reason I bring that up is A, because it's kind of related to curses, and B, I feel like I was giving you the evil eye every time they made a reference to tarot. I kept looking over at you like, is that true? Does that track? Is that accurate? And you were just rolling your eyes.
But no, you couldn't. Well, I would hope you don't give me the evil eye, but evil eye is like
I was giving you the side eye.
Side eye is not evil eye. Side eye is like be for real, but you could like have a lot of love for that person.
And you were rolling your eyes the whole time, the whole movie.
But evil eye is like envy. You don't deserve this. Like, why do you have this and I don't? I want something bad to happen to you. That's what like evil eye is.
Oh, okay. And it's specifically for like envy and jealousy, or it's like I just want something bad to happen to you.
Both.
Both. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go into the history of it then, because I know you did your research on this episode.
Yeah, I really tried researching as much as possible. Its origins are very, very unknown, but definitely from the Eastern Hemisphere for sure. Possibly Mediterranean or Egyptian origin, but we don't know for sure.
Oh, like the Eye of Ra,
The Eye of Horus.
Horus. Okay.
Yeah.
What am I thinking?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not that familiar with
Egypt.
Egyptian gods, but Horus is a god in the form of a falcon whose right eye was the sun or morning star representing power, and whose left eye was the moon or evening star representing healing.
So right sun, left moon, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But like, you know how the Egyptians drew everything at like a profile and you would only see like one eye?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you would see the left or the right in this case?
That I don't know.
Well, it depends where he's facing, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if they drew everyone always like to the
there
left
was
or the right.
consistency?
Like I don't know
Yeah.
that much, but that's like one possible idea
Okay.
of like where it could have originated from.
And which was the eye that was supposedly the evil eye?
That's where like the belief could originate from. Like
But there's no specific as to if it was the right or the left, the sun or the moon.
no,
Okay.
no, and we don't even know if it's that. It could be Mediterranean. It could be African. Like so, the Eastern Hemisphere. Think like Europe, Middle East, Asia, Africa.
Mhm.
Technically, all those countries can be like connected, and you could walk through all of them, or like ride a horse or
Navigate
whatever.
through them.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you wouldn't like to go from, let's say, the US to England, you would need to cross the sea versus like it.
Kind of. You could go through Russia. I mean, I guess there's a strait,
Yeah,
but it's really short. Yeah.
but still,
Yeah.
like technically, if you wanted to go from Egypt to China, like it would take forever,
But
but
there's a
you
route.
could
Yeah.
while avoiding an ocean or a sea.
Got it. Yeah.
So, because there was a lot of globalization back then, like, I mean, even now, but like before we had boats and planes and like modern technology.
Well, the way we came over to the Western Hemisphere was the land bridge, that was made out of ice, and then
Yeah, that was like the cave people, the Neanderthals. But
Yeah.
I'm talking about like once people had societies.
got it. Okay.
Yeah, like think
Yeah.
BC,
Established societies.
and
Yeah.
medieval and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So
So, what are some other possible origins? You have the Egyptians. What else?
there could also be Mediterranean.
Is there like a story off that?
There was a belief that people that had blue eyes, because they were so rare, that like they could transmit the evil eye, that they were like evil.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was interesting.
And blue eyes is a recessive gene, so there's a lot of particular attributes like correlated to certain people with certain genetic dispositions that aren't bad or good, like left-handedness, blue eyes, things of that nature.
Which a lot of people also think that left-handed people are cursed.
Correct.
Yeah. And that's why like a lot of the evil eyes, there is a theory that it could be blue. Another theory is just like the stones that they used, maybe the stones that were readily available, like cobalt or lapis or something. That's another possible origin. But anyway, there was just so much globalization going on, like from such an early, like from BC time, that a lot of people influenced each other.
Yeah.
So you'll see different iterations of the evil eye in different cultures, but they all have like the evil eye in common.
Same meaning. It's kind of like the hero's journey, right?
Yeah.
You have like Oedipus, and am I confusing Homer with Oedipus? It's the same thing, right? The Odyssey. But like basically the hero's journey, right? So we have examples of it back in ancient Greece, and then we have modern times with like Star Wars, and then some might even say Harry Potter. Like even across generations, it's it pops up.
The tarot also has the hero's journey in the major arcana.
Oh, it does.
Mhm.
Oh, and what's the story there?
Just the traditional like hero's journey. Like the fool is they set off to an adventure.
Yeah.
The magician, they find out their power, and then like
Got it.
with
Yeah.
the high priestess, they find someone wise to mentor them and like guide them the right way,
Yeah.
etc., etc. Anyway, but yeah, the evil eye came to the Western Hemisphere through colonization.
Okay.
Yeah, from Europe.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
A lot of things come that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Not surprised there.
Yeah, but I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Like the evil eye was so widespread in the Eastern Hemisphere just because of the easy access.
Yeah.
To each other. Like there's like references in like Hinduism, in like Arabic culture, in Judaism, Mediterranean, European, like everything. Yeah.
Asian cultures as well?
I didn't see a lot of Asian, but I mean, I get technically India is Asia.
That's true.
Yeah. But like Eastern Asian,
Yeah.
there I'm not sure.
Any relation to or correlation to the third eye? I just feel like there's so many allusions to eyes because there's the old idiom, right, that the eyes are the gateway of the soul. So I'm sure even past civilizations kind of sprung to that.
Well, the evil eye is like a blocker versus the third eye is like a receptor.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think they're related like
Got
that,
it.
other than that they're both eyes.
Yeah.
From my understanding. But yeah, it's really interesting. Different cultures have different ways to like detect the evil eye, to get rid of the evil eye. Like in some, I don't know exactly which one, but in some Middle Eastern cultures, I've seen that like you're not supposed to like compliment someone on like a specific thing because then in order to avoid it not being like tainted with the evil eye, they'll just give it to you. If I was like, oh, I like your chain, then the evil eye could be transmitted to your chain, and then they would take it off and be like, take it.
That's
and
where
then,
that comes from.
And then you're like, no, I don't want your chain. They're like, no, take it. Basically, they're like, ya lo chingaste. Like
you messed
you
it up.
tainted it. Yeah.
And the thought process behind that is like you're saying that because you're jealous that the person has it.
Yeah. So a lot of people don't give like specific compliments like that because then they know that the other person will have to give it up.
Oh, that's so interesting. I have heard of that culture practice and I thought it was just good hospitality. No. But I heard, especially with like, richer princes and all the people in like Saudi Arabia and stuff. Like if you're like, oh, I like your watch or I like this or I like that, they'll give it to you. And funny you mentioned that. I saw a video one time. It was this guy who wanted to test that theory, and he went. I think he was in Dubai or something. And he kept asking people like, I think he said like, "I like your watch," or just said like straight up like, "Can I have your watch?" And like most of them rejected them, but then he went up to like somebody who was assumed to be maybe a prince or royalty, and the guy just seemed annoyed, and he's like, "Okay, whatever." And he had it on an Apple Watch, and literally just gave it to him. Like, yeah, you can have it. So while it wasn't like a super expensive watch, because watches can get really up there, the dude was just like, okay, you could have my Apple Watch, whatever, which was really funny.
Yeah, most people are just like, whatever. It's not worth like the energetic hassle. You could just take my thing.
Oh, interesting. I learned something new. That's incredible. Okay, now I know where that tradition comes from.
Yeah, I know that in Judaism they have like the hamsa, which is the hand with the eye. That's supposed to be like another way to like block energy. So you'll see people with like that pendant. A lot of people just wear like the eye. So it's like an additional eye that like looks back at the evil eye or the origin of the evil eye coming to you, and therefore like it blocks it.
Got it.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
We're now transitioning not into the examples, but with our culture. So why is it so ubiquitous in, I don't know if it's in all Latino culture, but in Mexican culture, that is just such a popular saying, te pusieron el mal de ojo, which translates to, they gave you the evil eye. My understanding of it was like somebody didn't like you and then they put this like evil eye thing on you that's like a curse. So it's a two-parter basically. Why is it so ubiquitous with our culture, Mexican culture, and what do they mean by that? Because from what I understand, it's not a bad thing. It just means like, or go ahead, maybe answer the questions and see if.
Have you heard of ojo de venado, which is deer eye?
I have not.
So some people, instead of calling it like mal de ojo, they'll call it ojo de venado, which is deer eye, because, and I was trying to see if there's a link, but I could not find one. I mean, I really tried to research. I could not find a single article linking these two concepts, but they work the same way. So indigenous cultures in like back then, they didn't have borders, but you know, North America, South America, somewhere in between, like there was a plant that produced a big seed, like a seed,
Like a pod almost?
yes,
Yeah.
that looked similar to a deer's eye.
Okay.
And they believed it to have like metaphysical properties of like blocking bad energy.
Yeah.
So people would tie it with a red string. Well, I mean, back then, I don't know if it was red. Now we all use a red string, but like they would tie it with the string, and that would be like the deer eye, blocking anything like negative.
Mm-hmm.
And the belief was that like this pod, like as it was dark, like nice and dark, like it was protecting you, but over time it starts to fade. Scientifically, we could say that this is sun exposure.
Yeah.
It just
Or
causes
just being, I mean, if it's, I don't say carbon based, but if it's an organic matter, it's kind of
like decomposing.
decompose. Yeah.
Yeah. But like once it starts to get really like translucent and like lighter in color, you need a new one.
Okay.
So that means it's breaking down.
Yeah.
It's not working as efficiently.
It's expired.
Anymore.
Right?
Yeah. So I was really trying to find a link to these two. What it could be is just like anything that we've said over and over again, which is like colonization meets like indigenous practice, and then they just get adopted with both of them.
So, okay, maybe I'm just mistaken, or correct me, but there is a negative connotation. Like you hear that a lot in just again our culture. It's like, oh, te echaron el mal de ojo. So, like, what does that mean? Because I don't think I'm bridging the connection.
So if you look at someone, you don't have to be fake and like compliment them like the example I gave with like Arabic culture. You could just stare at someone and in your mind just be like, that person grinds my gears. I hate them. Like, I hate the way they talk. I hate the way, a la Kendrick right now. I'm the biggest hater.
Kendrick via Drake
Yeah. So it's like someone could just look at you like that with like all the hate
with
that
the
they
bad
have
intention.
and bad intention like in their eyes to you. So like because that's such a powerful emotion, like they don't have to say anything. They can send you that energy through their eyes and like a target, like they are looking at their target, they are looking at you.
Okay.
That's how you catch it.
Okay. But then I guess on the flip side, then it also protects you. That's where I'm having the
Okay. So the actual evil thing is the hater.
Okay.
The evil eye is not evil. It's just if you had to say like the fake evil eye to stare at the evil eye amulet, that's a mouthful. So people shorten it to evil eye.
Okay.
So it's really like an amulet to protect you, but they call it evil eye.
Okay.
To ward against the evil eye.
Okay. Yeah, I still don't really get it. I think I should have asked around more because I feel like once this airs, my mom's gonna have comments on this and be like, "This is what it means."
But I don't understand the disconnect.
I just guess I've always heard it as like, okay, this is for example. So I've heard it as like, oh, like I see or I notice that like you've been cursed, and the curse is called like the curse basically of the evil eye, or even with you, I feel like I've heard people have come up to you and been like, can you do a reading for me? I feel like somebody gave me the evil eye. That's happened to you, right? Am I off base?
Yes. No,
Okay.
yeah, that's happened.
Okay. But I don't, so okay, so somebody's like, somebody gave me the evil eye. They don't want that, right?
No. They don't want the haters' vibes transmuted through their eyes with evil intent.
Yes.
That
Oh, okay. So the evil eye is the term, but it's also the physical manifestation of the amulet.
the amulet is to protect you.
Yes.
So it's like if
Our listeners are going to be so frustrated.
Okay.
They're like, David, just get it.
it's like you fight fire with fire, right?
Well, you fight fire with water.
Okay, you shoot a gun with another gun, right?
No, you shoot a gun with your finger on the trigger.
Oh, if you show up to a gunfight without a gun, you cannot defend yourself.
Okay. Yeah, that's a better example.
You probably need a gun against someone with a gun to get the job done.
Okay.
So, you are this is your gun.
Okay.
You're not a hater. You're not trying to shoot first,
Well, you
but
kind of sound like a hater right now towards me. I'm kidding. Okay, I think I kind of get it now. Okay, I get it.
it's like you're gonna stare at me like that. Well, I'm gonna stare at you like that, but not really. This amulet is gonna stare at you and intercept that negative energy.
Basically, try not to get haters in your life is what I'm getting.
But sometimes you can't avoid it. And maybe it's not even haters, but it's like jealousy. It's like,
Yeah.
damn, I wish I had that. But to the point where it's like, it's just human nature. Like, comparison is the thief of joy. Like, why do they have that and I don't? We're cut from the same cloth. Why did they get lucky and I didn't? You know, like, it could even not be like I'm a straight up hater, but just like, you don't deserve it.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think the next natural question that people are going to be curious about is the like pragmatic things that we can do to protect ourselves. I think we start with us, right? I just go along with your practices, but we do have an evil eye in our doorway, like hall, right, where people come in.
Yeah.
And that's not to scare them away. That's to protect their house, correct?
Yes.
All right. So tell us what that's doing for us.
So, if a hater came in here
Yes.
and was like, I like your crib, and is looking around, putting their stanky eyes on our place, then this evil eye on the wall is going to stare back and be like, don't you dare put that hater energy out here
Yeah.
and intercept it.
I think I'd rather have the gun. No, I'm kidding.
It's your spiritual gun.
It's my spiritual gun. Make sure it stays loaded. Okay. And where did you get that one? It's really beautiful.
Jeez, I don't remember. I think maybe we bought it while traveling.
Yeah, probably some store in Colorado. We might have been with Mozzie.
Maybe.
You know, a lot of our stories lead back to Mozzie. I've noticed that. A lot of our spiritual journey. The other thing I've noticed, just maybe it's because we were going to film the episode, but I also don't know if it's like now more of a fashion statement too, because we went to a couple parties this weekend, and like just in general, I see everybody with their evil eye bracelet.
Yeah, it's absolutely a fashion statement. Yeah. There's always like a revival of the occult, and then it dies down in fashion.
Yeah.
And like it goes up and down.
I remember the what's that hand? It's like Hindu. That was on everything for a while.
It might be the Hamsa, which is like Jewish.
No, it was like a hand. But yeah, I'll show it to you.
I know what you're talking about.
But it was like on every piece of clothing.
It's Jewish, yeah.
Okay, so the evil eyes that are in the bracelet form, are they just like an acrylic, a stone, or is there like a particular stone that it should be made out of?
That goes back to your culture. Like some people believe that only the blue one works.
I know, but what is like the blue one? Like you just make it, or is it?
Again, it depends on your culture. If you believe that like certain materials are better than others, this goes back to color magic. Some people are like, "Oh, the red eye is better for this, and the yellow one is better for this." Like I'm sure you've seen them in different colors too.
I've only seen them in blue, so it's like blue,
really?
Yeah, blue, white, and red, right? Blue, white, and the pupil is black. Usually.
So the OG eye is like a dark blue, and then the iris is like a very, very light blue, and then
the pupil is black.
Yeah.
But there's nothing naturally forming that kind of it's not like a tiger's eye, right? Where there's like a stone.
I mean, it
looks
could
like-
be lapis, it could be cobalt.
but there's nothing naturally forming that will have that shape, right? Because the one I'm thinking of, it's like blue, then white, and then black.
No, you would have to manipulate it. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
But again, in like indigenous cultures, there is a pod that people could
Looks
just
like it,
wear. And that's like some people could argue more powerful
because it's like natural.
you don't have to manipulate it like that.
Yeah. What's the thought process about like giving that as a gift? I feel like as a homeowner, it'd be a nice, like a first time home buyer, especially if they're spiritual, like that would be such a nice gift to be like, well, protect yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. There's like nothing wrong with giving that if the person is going to like it.
It's really interesting what cultures decide to do to their domicile. I know in the Jewish culture, they have the Manishka or something like that. It's a little scroll that's like a prayer in the doorway. We have the evil eye. If you would have asked me 10 years ago if I would have an evil eye in my front door, I'd be like, I don't think so. But okay, so it's like it's a spiritual alarm. It's a spiritual protector.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. You ready to share the best example with the evil eye?
Hold up. I just thought about a better analogy.
Okay.
You know those fake owls to protect from real birds?
Or yes. So they put a predatory bird to protect. Yeah, it's like a scarecrow.
Bird
kinda.
versus bird.
Yeah.
Like that's basically what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Do you want to tell everybody our beautiful example with our evil eye?
Before we do that, sorry, I feel like we went really sideways. Let me just round out. So, the different ways to detect it, you could do a limpia. Some people read the egg and they could see like the peaks and valleys. And then if the bubble is like a certain way, they could be like, oh, there are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 eyes that you caught or one eye that you caught. So it's like,
It's a lot of haters.
sometimes there are a lot of haters in your life. I had a lot of haters in high school, so I probably had a bunch. So
Yeah.
anyway, so yeah, they could do that. Someone could do an energy reading, a tarot reading.
Have you had people request a reading to see if they have the evil eye?
Yes.
Without identifying, are you able to share some examples?
Yeah, 99% of the time it's like you're not taking accountability for something in your life. Like, don't blame a curse. One time I did get one that I was like, no, 2 times I did get one. I was like, oh shit.
And what was that like?
So my most recent one was really interesting because that person was like, I feel like I have a hater and like I can't identify them and I feel like they look at me with evil eyes. And I was like, okay, hold up real quick. And then I pulled a card and yeah, basically the cards that I got indicated like, yes, you do.
Ooh.
And then I was like, okay, let me get a clue as to like who they are. And then I pulled the Hierophant, which is it looks like the Pope. Yeah. So I was like, is there someone in your spiritual community that is just like a freaking spiritual Karen? And they're like, I know exactly who you're talking about. I've been meaning to like unfriend them and like just not like fuck with them.
Yeah.
And I was like, do it. That's who it is. And they were like, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Awesome. And what was the other example?
The other example was I couldn't like detect specifically there. I don't even think I bothered to. I was just like, do a limpia. You could do a spiritual cleanse. Like you could do all these things. Like we've talked about like the shower method, spiritual cleanses, smoke cleanse, fire cleanse. There's so many ways to cleanse. You just got to choose like sound baths, like
salt.
Yeah, you just got to choose like the one that feels right for you and that is accessible to you at the time, because magic doesn't have to be expensive. Like self-care like this doesn't have to be expensive. Just work with what you have. And then people say that kids are more susceptible to the ojo or the evil eye just because just like their immune system, like it's not really built up. Same thing with their spiritual immunity. It's not really built up like that. So yeah, kids are like a little more susceptible. And that's why people are like, oh, don't like just bring your kids around anybody. But honestly, that's just a good rule of thumb for like any baby or in your life. Like just be careful who you deal with.
I don't see how you could hate on a baby, but the thing I can't see is like, and like you said, maybe it's not necessarily hate, but it's jealousy. So maybe like couples who are trying to have a kid or haven't been able to, and then they see like all their friends having kids, they could still love that kid, but also be like, dang, when is it going to be my turn? Right.
I mean, people also have a lot of messy situations with like baby mama 1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
baby daddy
that's
1, 2, 3.
true.
So
Um, regardless of spirituality or practice, like don't hate on babies. Like it's never their fault. Like the situation they're born into.
yeah, I know.
Always be able to give some grace. And yeah, I have actually known people who are like, yeah, it's a baby. They haven't done anything, but I think just based on the circumstance, they're like, they don't like the parent, and then that translates into the
kid.
not liking the kid, which is very unfortunate because all babies deserve love.
Yeah, absolutely. But sorry, going back to your example, I don't remember what you're talking about right now.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
I'll let you tell the story, but tell the story about the evil eye in your car. I thought that was this whole episode was going to lead to that example. I can't believe you forgot it.
I'm just surrounded by stuff, so you have to be more specific. Okay.
I'm giving you the evil eye right now.
So I still have it, but I haven't put it back up. I probably will after this episode, but I have an eye air freshener that goes
It's
on
an
my
evil eye freshener.
yes, that goes on my rear view mirror. The impulsive thoughts won, and I flicked it in the pupil.
It was so weird. We were driving down. Nothing had happened. We were literally driving. And all of a sudden, I see Genesis like flick it. And I swear, and I mean, everybody knows me on this podcast. I'm very skeptical. I'm very like, if it has no explanation, it didn't happen. But I swear, I don't know if the sun caught it in a weird way or something happened, but it looked like it blinked, like it flinched. So she flicked it, and then it flinched, or it blinked. The fucking eye blinked. And I was like, yo, what are you doing? Isn't that like supposed to protect us? Because again, I had base knowledge, and she's like, oh yeah, I don't know why I did that. That's not good. I shouldn't have done that. And then you were kind of worried there for a second.
I was like, oh,
walk us through your thought process, because I was like, even me as a skeptic, I was like, why are you fucking with this if like it's supposed to protect us? Like, why are you flicking the eye for no reason?
The impulsive thoughts won.
So tell me what was going through your mind, and tell me
literally nothing.
and tell me what you thought afterwards. Were you like, oh shit?
Before, absolutely nothing. Which this is why the impulse won. Yeah. After, I was like, I'm absolutely gonna get in a car wreck now. Ain't no way. But I think I've like apologized. I've been like, my bad. Yeah. And nothing's happened so far. So.
And when did you take it down?
Oh, because I got my car detailed and then I just forgot to put it back up.
But you still have it?
Mm-hmm. So don't be like me. Don't flick your eye. It's there to help you.
Yeah. Well, that was super interesting. I was like, what are you doing, man? What are some other good ways to like have the evil eye? So we have one in our house, one for the car.
Jewelry, best way, in my opinion.
Okay, so jewelry is the best one. Is it something you should maybe carry with you at all times, or like, again, going back to the gun, like a situation where you feel you might encounter something?
Unlike a gun, you should brandish your ojo, because if the ojo can't see the ojos,
So, okay, so make the eye visible. No pun intended.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, so, again, is it something you should be wearing all the time? Or just like if you're going to a hostile situation?
That depends on you and how you feel.
Yeah.
But I mean, I like to wear it when I feel like I need that extra layer and I don't know what I'm walking into.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Interesting. I've never had this happen, but again, this is a very traditional experience that I think a lot of first generation Mexican or Latino kids have had. Where you'll go visit the motherland, Mexico, and all your little cousins are like, I want this, I want that. And then you're like, your mom's like, well, just give it to them. Go, you'll buy a new one when you go back to the States. Like if you bring your Game Boy, like, you know, that thing's not coming back with you to the States. Or if you bring like, you know, branded clothing like Nike or things like that, or iPods and stuff of that nature, there's always the thought like that shit's just not coming back with you because, you know, your little cousins or nephews or whatever are gonna want you to have it. So is it a good idea? Have you had that experience? Did you ever go to Mexico where your parents were like, ay, dáselo, or give it to them? Like they don't have access to it over here, so or I'll buy you a new one when you get back, and then they never buy it.
No, but that's a story for another time.
Really?
I can't say it.
Ooh, okay. What topic is it? Is that like a private story?
No, it's like a private, like
Oh, okay.
family stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
juicy. Okay, sorry, listeners. Again, I do want to reiterate, I've never had that. I have seen my cousins, but I've wanted to give them some of my stuff, and they're overjoyed. So to me, it does bring me happiness to like give them stuff, but I've never been forced to be like, you know, leave it for your little cousin because they don't have it. But the reason I brought it is like, again, another sense of like, maybe it's not hatred, but that jealousy of like, damn, like they have it all. And I think there's a perception, right? Sometimes from our family members back in Mexico that like, just because we live here, you know, the roads are paved with like opportunity and money and things and that nature. But
Yeah, for sure. And then something I wanted to mention that I didn't have time for earlier. So sometimes we see the evil eye bracelet with like red string.
Okay, yeah.
So there's a lot of different theories. There is a Bible verse, Genesis chapter 38 and then 30. It's basically a story about some twins and the birth process, but apparently the first twin stuck out their wrist, and then the like midwife tied a red string around the wrist, that way she would know like who the firstborn was.
Yeah.
So then for some reason like he came back, his hand came back inside, and then like the second brother came out first, and then he came out, but then his brother who had the scarlet thread on his wrist came out, and he was named Zerah.
Okay.
So that's like where it comes from.
The red string.
Yeah.
It's like good luck.
Yeah, basically it shows like perseverance, and like I don't subscribe to this.
Yeah.
I don't really know. I think it's a weird story, but that's like one possible origin. Another one is that like from what I was reading about Ojo de Venado is that like it represents like blood. So then like that evil eye sees like an eye and blood and confuses it with like a person. So the energy is directed there instead of like the living person.
Okay.
There are like a lot of different theories.
Yeah.
Red is just also a bold color. So like your eyes might be drawn there more.
Yeah.
Like who knows what the origins are, but those are just some theories.
Got it. Okay, interesting. And that's why it's sometimes paired with
Red string.
The red string.
Mm-hmm.
Do you own any evil eye jewelry?
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
quite a few things.
I don't feel like I've ever seen you wear it.
I think you gave me a pair of evil eye earrings.
Oh, did I? Oh,
They're really nice. They're like some of my favorite. I think that was you.
I hope so. And if I did, it wasn't for the meaning, it was for the aesthetic. I thought it
Probably.
would fit your vibe. So, do you think I should rock any evil eye stuff?
So like in my personal belief, I don't feel like the eye is like better or worse than like
The gun.
than the gun. Or than like the obsidian,
Yeah.
or like
Onyx.
yeah, exactly, pentagram, or
Yeah.
whatever you believe in.
Got it.
Yeah.
Whatever fits the fit that day.
I honestly, that's how I choose what I'm gonna
Yeah.
wear.
Sometimes you have some loud stuff. So cool. Well, it looks like we do have one question. I believe it's from Joshua. Joshua, thank you so much for the participation lately. I really, really appreciate it. Joshua says, do you have any personal rituals of removing the evil eye on you or people around you? If so, are you comfortable? What is the basic summary of what you do with that ritual? So,
I go to my homegirl Jenna, Luna Beauty 222. She does limpias, and I feel like they're really effective. She's been like the only person that I've allowed to do a limpia on me, and I'm really happy with it.
What did you need a Olympia for?
When I was on the struggle bus at my last job, that's how I met her, because I booked a limpia with her.
Oh, that's how you originally met her.
Yeah.
Oh, and now y'all are besties.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, big shout out. That was a fun little get together.
It's
Better
nicer.
to outsource that.
Yeah, I think when someone else does it on you, it's nice. It's a little more effective.
And then everybody has their own specialities, right? Like you definitely, I've noticed you still do tarot, and I think you're a great tarot practitioner. I got to see it in action a little bit at your last event, but you're really turning more into like an astrologer, aren't you? That's become more of your...
Yeah, I just feel like there are tarot readers everywhere.
It almost feels like tarot's a tool and astrology is like a practice. Even I guess tarot could be too, but like...
Yeah, I just feel like because astrology involves geometry, you have to do a lot of quick math. There's a lot of numbers. I feel like that meme with the numbers flying around.
Yeah.
Because it's like different planets have different orbs, and then you have to calculate like how many degrees is this from this thing or that thing, plus or minus like 1, 3, 5, 10, depending on the planet. It's a lot of memorization and a lot of geometry. So I think that's why people are like, hell no. At least
Whereas like tarot, like the cards pretty much have the same meaning. There's only a finite number of cards. And the more you practice, the quicker you'll probably be at it.
Or people probably like astrology like for themselves because they don't have to bam, bam, bam on the spot. Like they could take their time and like whip out a calculator or like an app. Versus me, I just go, like, I just see the circle and the lines, and I have to do that in my head.
Okay. Interesting. Alrighty. Well, very interesting topic. I think I ended up having more questions than answers, but that's fine. These discussions are great. I think my favorite part, though, was learning about that Middle Eastern tradition of, like, not saying, hey, I like this, because they will give it to you.
Yeah, they're like, it's not even worth it. Just take it. Just take it.
Great. So let's talk a little bit about what our topics are coming up.
Yeah. So coming up, we have psychic surgery next, which it's a scam, obviously. Not obviously, but
we'll go into it.
But I'm not saying like, this is great. Get cut up. No, we're going to talk about just like, how concerning it is. And then after that, we're going to talk about spirit guides and how to identify yours.
Nice. There's still time to submit questions if you have any questions on those topics. If you haven't done so already, make sure to follow Genesis on Instagram. I've also kind of done a revamp of my Instagram. It was mostly like Pokemon related content. As the podcast grows, I do want to be a little more available for our listeners. So if you haven't followed me, go ahead and do so. Not really for the follows, but just to kind of keep up to date. My page is kind of more dedicated as me being a co-host to this podcast. But like I updated my picture. All my Pokemon stuff is still up if you're interested in Pokemon. But it's going to be more of a regular Instagram with more podcast and just our life in general.
Yeah, definitely. So follow Premier Pulse. Also follow me if you haven't at Genkahlo, GENKAHLO. Or if you'd rather be in touch by email, tarotwithgenesis@gmail.com. All right, remember, the magic within you makes the world a more beautiful place. Blessed be, and signing off.
Bye, everyone.